Marhaban amigos, it's your most slimmest, Sultan Skinny, sheikh of all that is lean and politically unclean. In the deserts of Arabia, Ismael, first son of Abraham, had 12 kids. But like his daddy before him, it is the first two that matter the most in this story, Nebaioth and Qedar. Qedar and his descendants, the Qedarites, are the first people to be referred to as the Arabs, a nation that will one day make up the majority of Middle Earth's population. It is by knowing who these people are that we can truly understand the culture and politics of the Middle East. So without further ado, let's get to it. Let's meet the descendants of Abraham's bastard son.
Well, good boy.
In the 8th century BCE, the Assyrian Empire, which dominated much of Middle Earth, wrote about a confederation of tribes that inhabited the deserts of Egypt, northern Arabia, and Syria. These were the Qedarites, the descendants of Qedar, Ishmael's second son. They would be the first people to be called Arabs, and King Gindubu as the first king of the Arabs. This Qedarite confederacy is mentioned as a formidable force by the Assyrians as battles occurred frequently between the two parties. From the 8th to 4th century BCE, these guys were considered a regional power, controlling the trade which flowed through the deserts of Arabia, Egypt, and Syria. The Arabs, also referred to as the Bedouin, were, and in some cases still are, a nomadic people of the Arabian desert, hence the name Arabia. They were mostly herders, with very few settlements as it is quite difficult to farm in a desert. Much of the resources and wealth these people managed to acquire was through raiding and trading with others. The Bedouins have no loyalty to a nation or even a deity. Instead, their solidarity lies in their tribe, clans, and family. These guys have a saying, "I am against my brother and I are against my cousin, and my cousin and I are against the stranger." This signifies that to the Bedouin, there is a hierarchy of obligation to the self first, then the family, clan, and finally, tribe. The tribal leader is a sheikh, literally meaning old man. Now, it's important to understand that Bedouins are greatly concerned about their honor and values. They are a hyper-patriarchal society, with men usually being at the head of the clique and women being their subjects. People will ask the name of your father or your husband before they ask your name, as their name is probably your last name, and thus the name of your clan and tribe. In Arab society, the genders are assigned codes of conduct to follow as soon as they are born. Women are born with the burden of ird, the chastity of her sexuality. You see, in Arab society, the sexual activities of a woman hold much value in the honor of her family. Unless the woman is married, there should be no hanky-pankying, otherwise she has dishonored her family, a crime where the penalty is banishment and even death. Men have the obligation of maintaining the family's honor. This is called sharaf. This means protecting the family, tribe, its property, and even the ird of the ladies. Diafa is the value of hospitality. It permits Bedouins to host guests into their homes and provide them with food and gifts. You see, when you're all alone in the desert with nobody around, you get kinda lonely. So when someone crosses your path, you cherish the bit of human interaction you can get before you're alone again. This hospitality even includes strangers and one's enemies, making Arabs among the most hospitable peoples in the world. Hamasa is the virtue of courage. A Bedouin man must be willing to protect and die for his family's honor. It is associated with the manliness of the men. If you're a man, you kill and die for your posse. Understanding this dynamic is not only important for Arabs in their personal life, but also plays an important role in their politics, something that will be demonstrated when we talk about the Arab world more generally. Till then, however, these guys were the pirates of the desert, a force capable of taking down armies and even empires. But their tribal loyalties and personal vendettas would prove to be a liability in creating an actual community and state. In fact, there was not even a single standard for the Arabic language. Rather, its early form consisted of different regional dialects and even scripts. There was never any one kind of Arabic, and thus never one kind of Arab. In the desert, the Arabs developed a strong oral tradition, reciting poetry and stories to each other on a normal basis, as that's really the only thing you can do for fun out here. Rapping rhymes about how dope you and your tribe are and how you messed up people back in the day was very commonplace amongst the Bedouins. But not being able to write has burdened these people of often being the subjects of other people's stories. So while the Arabs are the subject of this video, the story I am telling you is actually Roman. The Qedarite Confederation would disappear from history in the 4th century BCE after a failed rebellion against the newly established Achaemenid Empire. What remained of the Qedarite tribes is believed to have integrated into a more resilient Nabataean nation. The Nabataeans are believed to be the descendants of Nebaioth by both Islamic and Roman historians. This small trading kingdom inhabited the deserts of the Sinai, the eastern banks of the Jordan River, modern-day Jordan, and for hundreds of years, this low-key kingdom controlled the flow of desert caravans, just like the Qedarites before. Although mostly consisting of the nomadic Bedouin people, the Nabataeans settled in the valleys out of sight from most civilizations. And when I mean they settled in the valleys, I mean they actually physically lived in the valleys, carving buildings into the rock, something that still baffles engineers to this day. The Nabataeans are also credited with developing the first prototype of the Arabic script, the third most used writing style in the world. By the 2nd century CE, the Nabataeans became incorporated into the Roman province of Arabia Petraea, with little resistance, as tribal separatists are more loyal to dinars than they are to nations. The Romans would eventually have much of its eastern army consist of Arab archers, cavalry, and mercenaries, protecting the empire's most valuable provinces against the armies of Iran and even other Arabs. With the fall of the Qedarite Confederacy and the Nabataeans came the rise of other Arab tribes and nations, the most famous of which is the Quraysh tribe of Central Arabia. It is these guys, the Quraysh, that the most famous of Arabs would be born into, Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam. Now, when talking about pre-Islamic Arabs, many experts would stop here, as we got the origin of Muhammad's people out of the way, but in reality, this is only one part of the story. You see, while the Assyrians and Romans traced the origin of the Arabs to the nomads of northern Arabia and Syria, the Arabs themselves considered these tribes to be Adonites, or Arabized Arabs, meaning that the Nabataeans, Qedarites, and Quraysh people are in fact not the original Arabs. According to Arab and Islamic tradition, the pure Arabs are labeled as Qatanis or Qatanites and are considered to be the first of the Arab Bedouin people. These OG Arabs also go by another name, the Yemen, named after a place that is too often overlooked in world history then and now. Next episode, we will explore the pre-Islamic history of Yemen, the forgotten cradle of civilization and birthplace of the original Arabs. Give your Sultan a like, share, and subscribe for more Middle Earth material. Don't be shy to comment and question, as I have answers for everything. Masalema, and see you next time.
All a good boy.